Want to have a chat with Mikis in the dungeon? Apply at contact@keramitica.com.
Welcome, Sebastian, to the first ever dungeon chat. Maybe there will not be any other one, but this is the first. So we're in the dungeon at Tierra Mythica, in the middle of the jungle. So we're here to give answers and discuss and chat about things that are both commonsensical and magical at the same time. Let's see if we can make it happen. I'm all yours.
Okay, excellent. So, first of all, thanks for having me and giving me the opportunity to ask all those pressing questions that have come up over the last couple of months. Now, what I've done is I've put together a couple of questions which I don't necessarily intend to go in order through, but more like as some talking points that I would be very curious to hear your thoughts on. Okay. What I have is different categories of questions that relate to choice OS more as a philosophy, to see how it fits into the broader picture out of curiosity and to kind of funnel my own research.
But we're gonna edit this stuff out because we want also people that don't know about choice OS to listen to these questions. Yes,
Yeah.
so I understand what you're saying, but when you present them as just a question. Yeah?
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Cool.
Absolutely. So for me, the first question would really be looking at choice OS and the pillars. Now, reading the Tao Te Ching as a daily practice, I can see a lot of similarities and overlaps. And what I'm curious about to understand is where do you draw your inspiration from?
Life.
So what inspired it? Life lessons.
Life. Like every day we face an issue. It could be an issue with an argument with a lover, a problem, an anxiety, anything. And based on my work, everything that we think or feel, any automatic reaction that we have in our body, all our thoughts, all our emotions are because of beliefs. So if there are things that cause us trouble, we need to solve them with beliefs. Because of this, I've created a set of beliefs that actually work. And in order to create them, the moment an idea comes into the mind, it needs a lot of testing, first with myself, and then with other people, such as you or whoever wants to try and participate. And then we see the results. And when we see the results, we find the leaks. Of course, I work very hard to find the leaks beforehand. But, pharmaceutical companies, they pay 5 billion for one drug. They do tests for years. They do clinical tests and animal tests and human tests and placebo tests and all of that. And then maybe after 2 or 3 years, when it's in circulation, they find there's a side effect. And side effects can be deadly. For example, there was a drug called Vioxx that was very successful, and I was taking it as well. And after years, they found out that on a small percentage, it could cause heart problems, which it did to me as well. You don't know. So that's why you got to do thorough research. The point is, a belief that can help you in a particular situation should not have leaks to other places, should not be able to take you to somewhere you don't want to go. It should kind of like guide you and restrict you to do what you want.
Yeah.
So the pillars that you have, they are a small proportion of the pillars that exist. And Many of them are researched and foolproof. But the point again is you should always go from the center and go around to the periphery. If your center is not aligned, if your core beliefs are not aligned, then whatever you do peripherally, all it's going to do is going to cause a leak. It may help you with it temporarily with this problem, and then it can cause you more problems later. So it's very important to be aligned internally with anything that you approach. So, for example, there is one pillar that has really engraved in me. It was back then, maybe like 12 years ago, practically, from today, when I first came here to Terra Medica. I had a girlfriend, and this girlfriend, Theo, she was missing her family, her country. She was not happy here. She did not like the fact that I spent too much time on my work and I didn't have time for her. And there was a lot of things that happened and a lot of adventures. But there came a moment she left and she came back. There came a moment when it was final. She had to go, she was going to go, it was done. And that particular day, I was with a colleague in Tarapoto, and we had a lot of work to do, meetings, things, that. So I kind of kept it in, and I worked through the day. And then when it was the time to leave Tarapoto to come back to Terra Medica, what happened was that I had this colleague third drive, and I sat on the co-driver's seat, the passenger seat, and I started crying. I started feeling the pain for all this effort the whole year, trying to make it work and not managing and having things. And I was feeling the pain, and I started doing my pillars, my pillar beliefs, started reinforcing myself. I understood that above everything, my number one priority was to be happy. So happiness is the feeling that everything, absolutely everything, is exactly deliciously as it should be. So then I thought, okay, this is as it should be as well. So now, without any distractions, I will be able to do my work and make Terra Mythica survive and flourish. And I will be able to write, and I will not have all this distraction, all this drama in my life. And it's gonna be cool and all that. And I kept like moving, then to trust. Yes, that I had to trust all the situation and everything that happened. And as I was going, I was kind of like getting better and better. So I was a wreck when we started. And then within, I don't know, 30 minutes, as we were going up the mountain, I was speaking to Ferd aloud. I was like reinforcing my main beliefs, my pillar beliefs openly to him. He was like my audience. I was like talking to myself, but it was him. And then I came to a pillar that I no longer give to people. And that pillar says it's supposed to be easy. Life is supposed to be easy. Relationship is supposed to be easy. Yeah. And this is a pillar that's very important when we feel that whatever we're doing, let's say you choose to do a project and then you get overwhelmed. So you start feeling it like a burden, like everything is difficult, or maintaining a relationship is very difficult. Yes, it's supposed to be easy. If it's not easy, you're doing something wrong. The moment I hit that pillar, my whole body rebelled. It went all over the place. I said, I got it. This is my problem. It's not easy. It's been so fucking difficult. It's not easy making this place, new place in the jungle out of nothing, writing and creating a philosophy out of nothing, creating a community, and managing to have a relationship and juggling all these balls and all these things in a brand new country is not fucking easy. And particularly, it's not been easy with Theo. And then I felt great. And I knew that by the time we reached Tierra Mítica in another half an hour, I would be super chill. And then I felt it on my body, Sebastian. What if it gets to be too easy? What if my sons die in a horrible accident and I can get over it? Now I can get over this in 1 hour. What if in the future I evolve enough, we evolve enough, any one of us who tries this, to the point where it's too easy, where my own kids die in a horrible accident and I can get over it and be happy like in 30 seconds. Who decides what's easy and what's difficult? If I get you and tell you, Sebastian, now you got to dig this hole in the ground 2 meters deep. Yes, and I get a couple of guys to do that, and this is like forced labor. You're gonna groan and you're gonna moan. It's gonna be incredibly difficult because the ground is hard and everything. But if I tell you, well, you dig that hole, and those ladies over there are gonna do wet t-shirt mud wrestling right now after you finish, then suddenly it becomes fucking easy. The hole flies out. Who decides what's easy, Sebastian? It is us who decides what's easy and how easy it should be. Should it be easy? Would you trust a heart surgeon that has learned on 1 weekend? No, you trust him because he's done 9 fucking years. Do we appreciate things if they're too easy?
No.
They say it's hard to make a success, it's hard to make a relationship, it's hard to do that. How can we appreciate them unless we've fought for them? Unless it's difficult. It has value if it's difficult. We're afraid to confront tasks that are difficult. But there's value if it's difficult. So I thought, fuck, if I succeed, everything will be too easy. Already is very easy. Something that would have devastated me a few years back, I could be depressed, I don't know, for a couple of years. Suddenly, in less than an hour, I'm good. So when we went back to Tierra Mítica, I made a declaration to the rest of the community there, and I shut myself in the room for 3 days. 3 days I purposely mourned for this relationship. I gave it value. And then I got out, totally free, totally light, having paid my tribute to something that I was choosing to have value for me and to not be just anything. Yeah. And then I was happy and free. But we decide what's easy and what's difficult. We decide. And some things that appear difficult, we should decide that they're easy. And some things that appear easy, we can also decide that they're difficult. To give them value.
About choice.
Yes.
Yeah.
So pillars sometimes can lead you to the wrong place. It was early times then, and they were not very well developed. That's when I realized what a leak could do. The danger
Yeah.
is to misunderstand the pillar and go into a totally different direction. I'll give you another example, like being selfish. It is our nature as human beings to be selfish. we should have no problem that we are selfish, that other people are selfish, because the light shines brighter from within. So you should first give love to yourself, then to the people that affect your life and are next to you that you choose next, then to that, then further, then to your neighborhood, your city, your country, your tribe, whatever, then to the poor people in Uganda. Because there are people that don't care about their own children and they pay money to sponsor children in, I don't know, Zambia or somewhere. Yes, but then people misunderstand. Putting yourself first does not mean that you do not care or take care of other people. It just means you have priority. Priority doesn't mean nobody else is important. It just means that you personally are the most important. And then Mara, which is your woman, is more important next. And then the next person, the next person. It doesn't mean you don't give a fuck about them. It doesn't mean you disrespect them. It doesn't mean you run over them. It doesn't mean anything like that. So this is the thing about the pillars. They're like computer code. One bug can destroy everything.
Very true. So, Mikis, talking about the practicality of the pillars and then originating from life experiences. And this might be a stupid question, but I will ask it regardless. So, what would you give as a recommendation to distill pillars effectively from experiences?
First of all, the pillars that you have, you need to try. Try to do things congruent with the pillars and see what happens. Because that's step number one. To trust in the principle that it's beliefs that fuck us up and beliefs that can help us and fix us. That's number one. Number two, whenever you are in a situation where you find out that no pillar that's available to you, no pillar belief is helping you, then that's the moment to say, okay, which belief would turn the situation around right now? Yeah. And you can't find something that's hard to find unless you trust it's there. So if you trust that you can find it, you shall. And when you find it, you're going to test it. And if it fails, you're going to amend it. And then you're going to test it again. And if it fails again, you're going to like refine it and tune it better and better and better.
So what you're saying effectively is when you're encountering a situation that the pillars that you have already provided don't seem to work, okay, question the underlying belief that might be blocking you.
Don't seem to solve the problem completely.
Yeah.
They may alleviate the problem, but they don't seem to solve the problem completely. It means there's other beliefs at play there that interact and create problems. Because basically, if you control your beliefs, you control the universe around you.
Sure.
You control your reality, but you also control the reality of others. Yes, because understand this. Yeah. If you're in a room, the person with the most stable sense of reality creates the reality for everybody. And that's what happens with great politicians, great artists, great whatever, yes? Great warriors, great anything you can imagine. They have such a concrete and undoubted sense of the reality and understanding of the reality that anybody else who has a less strong sense of reality, they are kind of like diluted and gravitate towards
Yeah.
the reality that is not flexible and doesn't change, and it's actually like keeps going.
Yeah.
Yes, it is not something that peters out or shifts or changes all the time. The one with strong foundations, where not only do you believe something, but you also understand clearly why you believe it. For what reason
I,
and what result.
yeah. I think it's called a reality distortion field. Like people like Steve Jobs had something like that where they created the reality around them. Is that what you're referring
It's
to?
not the reality distortion field, it's the reality torsion field.
Okay.
Distortion means it changes something that is there, it exists.
Mhm.
But if no stable reality exists, and in most situations you will find out that most people's realities are shaky. They say they believe
They are.
something, you ask them a couple of questions, they take it back. The more you
Yeah.
corner them in the paradox a little bit, they take it back. So their reality is like fickle and shaky. Yes.
Mhm.
So it's not the distortion of an existing reality, it's an establishment of a more stable reality, which benefits everybody.
Yeah.
Because even if your reality is wrong, if it's stable, then life itself, the experiment, will show that it's wrong. And then you're able to shift. But if the reality is constantly shifting, nothing is fully tested. So
Yeah.
you're always on shaky ground. So,
I think. Mhm.
yeah.
I think this is a really nice leeway to one of the questions that I had written down. Because what is reality from your point of view? What is it?
What is relative?
What is reality?
And what is reality? What is reality? Whatever you choose it to be.
Okay. Um, I can get behind that. To be honest, what I was hoping for would be a more philosophical perspective. You know, the reality is whatever you choose it to be is very pragmatic, and I get totally behind that.
Do you see where I am?
Yes, in the
I'm in the
dungeon.
fucking dungeon in Terra Mythica. You haven't visited, but I understand you'll be here soon, yes? Yeah. So I'm in this dungeon, okay? How many people have a dungeon?
16
But
people in
we dream,
Terra.
but we dreamed this and we made this. So
Yeah,
this is reality. And for you, potentially, it's not a reality to have something like this just for the fuck of it. Yes.
yeah.
So what kind of reality one is not able to create? Try to imagine something that is not possible. Let's be like more pragmatic.
Mhm.
You can tell me things. You can say, okay, now I have to be in the business world, yeah, and my reality needs to coincide with the people I do business with. Otherwise, they're gonna think I'm cuckoo, and we're not gonna have a shared reality. Yeah,
Yeah,
potentially, right? Yeah, but the reality that you choose must have an objective. The objective, of course, is not very beneficial unless it's a special case to be something that jars with other people's perceptions in a way where it makes them kind of recoil, yes, and not being able to function. Number one, yes. Number two, the reality that you're choosing has to give you some benefits, has to give you an edge, has to give you an advantage in the game of life, in the game of existence, in the game of survival and flourishing, let's call it. So the reality that serves you in your business dealing can be that you're the best for this job, and whatever you have to offer is to these people's prime advantage, and to actually create a reality where it is very obvious to everybody that it is so. This way, the project will go more fluidly, there will be less anxiety, there will be more trust, and the project increases its probabilities of success exponentially for both sides of the business dealing. And you're going to say, so how am I going to do that? Well, very easily, just believe it. And if you believe it with all your heart without fluctuation, this will permeate everybody around you. Because people can feel, you know, people can feel. People can be very stupid, but their instinctual feeling, even for the very stupid people, can be extremely accurate. So yes, if you believe it absolutely, you're the best guy for this dealing, and you truly believe it, and you believe very much that you're the best for them because you're honest and you're not going to cheat them, and because like you want this to be the best project for both of you, and you truly believe this. Not only will they believe it also, but everybody that gets in touch with the project will believe it also. So then a new reality will be manifesting the more this belief is growing. So this is like an example. But you can ask me a question about any aspect of human life. Yes, and I will tell you very easily that there doesn't exist a reality that you have the intention and capacity to believe yourself that you cannot transmit to everything, to the people you come in contact to the universe, to the actual reality around you.
Yeah.
If you're going to the center of the city and you're a nervous wreck because you don't believe you're going to find a parking space, you're not going to find a parking space. And when you find it, somebody else will get in before you, or there'll be some problem, and you'll be getting more upset, and this is going to be like a torture. But if you believe that this is no problem at all, the universe will confirm you. It sounds like, because we're talking about common sense and magic, but it is magic. You will find the closest to the place you're gonna go, the best parking spot, because you'll be chill, and the moment like your body detects by itself, because you'll be in the zone, that somebody is ready to pull out, you'll automatically slow a little bit down, where otherwise you would have passed and somebody else would have gotten the place, and you will be ready there to take that place because you will be in tune with everything. So actually, it actually works like magic practically.
It does, yeah.
It actually does. It works practically. In practical things that you would say, I mean, this is a matter of luck. How can this happen? No, it happens. It happens because you're in tune of everything that's happening around you. Yes?
Yeah.
You go through that traffic light a little faster, and then that's when that thing, because you're in tune. Quantum physics has proved how much everything is connected. And if you can actually get in touch with this connectivity with everything around you, then actually it sounds like quackery or magic, but it's real. The universe informs you, informs you.
Yes, it does. You know, it's so funny because I have like as I said, I have a bunch of questions, and like there's a natural flow that you're bringing up. So it's a really great transition to one of the other questions that I had, which is synchronicities. Is it divine guidance or superstition?
Neither nor. It's exactly what I told you. It's being in tune. And when you're in tune, you find the opening in the traffic, you get the last ticket of something, you can't do because you're connected and you're in tune. And the more again you believe in this, the more messages you get and the more you feel it. And the more you feel it, the more it happens. Yes. People that travel with me know what it's about. It can be magical. Everything can fix itself magically all the time.
Yeah.
If you ask Liz, she had traveled the world before she met me, and with backpacks and things, and she spent, everywhere, Asia, here, there, and then she was always into some kind of trouble, missed the bus, to this, to that, to that, to that, to that, you know. For me, it's extremely rare. Like things work out, but also take care that they work out. I don't ignore signals. Yes. So I listen to the radio. I listen to the radio. Uh, Heavy traffic and long delays in Schiphol Airport. Yes. And I would say, Liz, order me a wheelchair as an invalid. Then I go to the airport, there's a million people. I have my wheelchair, I go first in the row, and no problem. But it happens. Yes. Why? Because I did not ignore this thing that was there in the radio among many things. How Barcelona won the soccer match and all of these kind of things. But if you're in tune, you catch these things out of the air and automatically you know the answer how to solve this. No, it's not for me to go like 7 hours earlier. No, like I want to live a good life. It's supposed to be easy, right? Yeah, I'm going to get myself a wheelchair. Yeah. And you're going to say, okay, you're old and you got your heart and all of that. You can get yourself a wheelchair. How can I, Sebastian, that I'm like in full health, get myself a wheelchair? You can. Nobody's going to challenge you. Nobody's going to ask you doctor's papers. You reserve it. Then you go inside there and you're like, then they give you the wheelchair and then your wife rolls you and you go first in queue. But in your brain, that's not an option. Well, you consider it unethical. But who am I hurting? I mean, these people are going to be there 4 hours anyway. Yes. My passing the queue is going to change that by 30 seconds per person. Okay, I can live with that. Yeah, less. So, but I don't take a wheelchair every time. It's not, I don't need a wheelchair. Like sometimes I do, but generally. But always I get it when it's fucked at the airport. Magically. So that's an example of that.
Talking about the airport, we had an incident on Saturday when we flew to Puerto Rico. Like our dog was not registered, and they they didn't allow us to check in. So instead of both of us going crazy, like we stayed very calm and we managed the situation, and we just trusted it would work out, and it worked out. And then the most beautiful thing happens as we're approaching the plane. We were bound for Puerto Rico, and on the back of the plane is like a graphic that says celebrating 75 years of Puerto Rico, you know? And I'm like, hey, look at this. Isn't this beautiful? And Mark's like, no, no, no. I mean, they have this everywhere. And as we stayed in Madrid airport, everywhere are Iberia planes. Not a single one of the hundreds of planes that I saw had Puerto Rico on it. Only the one that we flew in.
Perfect.
Wow,
So,
isn't
so yes, it's
magnificent.
it's synchronicity. It's also something. I'm going to go esoteric because these chats have to go a little bit beyond. Shall I go a little
Yeah,
bit beyond?
please.
So imagine that everything that happens is there's like a big spider web. of tiny, tiny threads like silk threads that connect everything and all of us. And if you cough, it affects me. But because you're far, it affects me little, but it does. You know,
Yeah.
if an insect is caught in the spider web, then the spider feels it. It doesn't matter if she's very far away and she runs to get the prey because everything is connected like this. So, as a first stage, you start believing and being aware of these connections. And the more this happens, the more you become sensitive and you can kind of like see how much
Yeah.
and how strongly this kind of web influences everything around you. And then with time, you can start playing with the little pieces of spider web and kind of like start like doing your own orchestra with the universe and with the world. And you can pull a little bit here and a tiny bit there and a little tiny bit there and so on and so forth and start seeing how exquisite it is that you can move the universe around you. Yes. And it's always benevolent because it is to your benefit that whatever you do, first you, but then the, the more people this action can benefit, the better it is for you. Yeah. And for everything around you. You also like happy people around you and so on and so forth. So you start playing with these things and playing and playing and playing. And then with practice, like everything, it can become easy. You can pull a strand there and create a whole series of events. Pop, 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 that spread out and affect like more and more and more and more and more people. Yeah. And then, you know, if it's overdoing it, you can pinch a little there and bring it a little bit back because you know it's going too far. And then you can actually conduct life around you. You can conduct life around you. Like, shall I give you a very mundane example?
I insist.
Okay. So let's say you have whatever, a greengrocer. Yeah. You're going to this greengrocer. It's the greengrocer of your neighborhood. You buy vegetables and fruit and shit, right? Yeah. So you like asparagus.
I do, yeah.
He doesn't stock asparagus. It's an example. He doesn't stock asparagus. It's a small greengrocer. You cannot stock everything you like. It's like, yeah, people mostly go to the supermarket where it's cheaper and all of that, so they buy in the greengrocer of the neighborhood, this kind of thing. So you start it every day when you go to the greengrocer, instead of being an anonymous person that he doesn't know. Of course, he knows you because you're in the neighborhood, so you're a customer, but you know, you start like telling him things like, the peaches yesterday were amazing. They were so great. They're so great. You're gonna get many people for peaches because I told everybody how good your peaches are. I mean, this batch of peaches is like unbelievable. You mean it. You don't say it if it's not true, but statistically it'll happen. And then when the season is, you will say, I only buy watermelons for you because other watermelons, you don't know what's inside, but you really know how to pick watermelons. So you're making this guy's day. You're becoming like a customer that's very pleasant to serve. Yes? And then things you don't like. Yeah? So the tomatoes are like black kind of thing. You say things like, it's a shame that you, such like a good greengrocer and everything, they will treat you like this and give you this kind of tomatoes. I mean, yeah, just because you don't have time to look at everything, this is a shame on them. You never accuse him, but you kind of like create his reality. After a while, he wants your praise. It's one of the highlights of his day. His wife doesn't fuck him. His kids are like, I don't know, hippies and have left home. He owes the IRS. He has all kinds of problems and he has to work like 12 hours. But then some little things happen in his day which are kind of nice. Yeah. And then one day you bide your time and you say, a guy of your caliber should be stocking asparagus, you know? Lots of people in the neighborhood are talking about asparagus. And then pronto, you have created a reality where your corner grocery store stocks asparagus for you. And this is your reality, you've created it. But without effort, easily. Just like just like playing the strings, seeing this person like you and say, okay, they have so many customers. Half of them complain about something. Yeah. Now I'm gonna give this guy a gift. I'm gonna give him a customer that can give a complaint but can also appreciate and not take it for granted. And suddenly you create a happy guy, then you create temporal waves because he goes home, he's nicer to his wife, his relationship may improve, his relationship with his children may improve, the relationship of his children with their boyfriends may improve, and all kinds. You're creating a wave of goodwill, yes, of like say empathetic manipulation that actually serves all the other people that would like asparagus in the neighborhood and serves him for sure. Yeah,
Being self-centered and egoistic with a positive drive.
absolutely.
Positive effects.
But
Absolutely.
this is how practically, magically, you can affect like a very mundane reality in your life. Yeah.
Yeah.
And do that. Yeah. So I was going to this hotel, La Casa dell'Italiano, which we like very much. We've been going for years with Liz. It's a little bit, it's not in the center, but we don't care because we have a car. And this guy's wife makes the best pizza dough ever. You're not even gonna find it in Italy. He's Italian, his wife is Peruvian, but she went to Italy to learn pizza. So I was complimenting her about the pizza, but she didn't always have pizza. Some days she would have pizza, and some days there would not be pizza. I have to call and say, "Oh, can you prepare so we have pizza?" Because she must have prepared the dough, let it rest, ferment, blah blah blah. You know this stuff. So then, she's opened the pizza restaurant. I told her, "Look, you got the oven, you got the thing here, like in this empty space. You could be earning extra money. Your pizza is good." She opened the pizza restaurant. Now the pizza restaurant is open 4 or 5 years and it's successful. And I always have pizza when I go there, right? So it's a reality. But a lot of people have benefited from this reality that is exactly the way I like it.
Shaping the world around you through the actions. Um, Talking about life experiences and different people how they perceive life. Are you familiar with the short story The Egg by the guy who wrote the Chronicles of Narnia?
Yeah, yeah. Why don't you say it so people who watch this will understand it?
So it was written by a guy whose name is slipping my memory, but on a very fundamental basis, it is about somebody who dies and wakes up and meets a higher being. And the higher being shares the insights that every human being is the same consciousness, just experiencing life as a different human being at a different point in time. So in order that that consciousness can, there's a bad word, but like graduate to become something higher. So the reason why I'm asking this is because I think life is about happiness, of course, but it's also about learning and evolving to an extent. And the question that I have for you is what is your general take on that view of like all being one, and experiencing life from different angles that all feeds into something bigger?
Look, you've read my book, The Three Breaths, where I express things there. And now I'm writing another book, which I think is better, and also has to do with things like that. Basically, if somebody lives the experience in different forms and starts from zero, then that being is free to make different choices. Unless because our choices are soul. Our soul, we are the result of our choices. The way we dress, our character, the way we behave, our personas, our lives, our personalities, our careers, the partners we choose. Yes, these are the expression of our soul, our choice. So, would you agree that if you reset, let's say there was reincarnation, you would still have free choice? Because if you didn't, you would still make the same mistakes of the past, right? You would not be evolving. The only way for evolution to exist is if a creature can make a different choice. This creature is born in the water, decides to go climb the trees and live in the trees. That's a choice. Evolution also follows choice, right? Would you agree? Okay,
I agree.
very good. So then that creature would have free choice, including the choice to disregard everything learned in the past, in any kind of like incarnation, and make a different choice. If you cannot disregard the lessons of the past, that means you don't have true choice. You have limitations. So once you can make a choice that disregards everything you learned in the past, that means you're an autonomous soul. As an autonomous soul, you are an individual. You're one thing that actually is self contained because it can do whatever it wants and live a totally different life. Yes? Now, once you die, that sum of choices does not mean anything anymore. It means to the people left behind that follow the tidal waves of everything you invented, of everybody you affected, and the children you sired, and whatever, blah, blah, blah. But for you, it doesn't mean anything anymore. It's not relevant to your next reality, let's say. Let's call it the afterlife of whatever kind. Do not go deeper into that. At that point, you are free to be informed by everybody else's experiences. You are free to gain from everything that's ever happened.
Yeah.
Okay. But you don't make collective decisions anymore. The decisions are always individual of every creature that happens to exist. Yes.
Yeah.
So the whole thing evolves. Everything is informed by it. And everything has the right to disregard and go in a different tack. It's the same thing with nature. Nature has learned evolution through millions of years. Yes. However, it has the possibility to mutate and create a monster or create something very new, good or bad, right? It has that
Right.
possibility. The fact that nature has learned that a five-legged creature doesn't work would be a very restrictive thing to free evolution. Nature must be able to try a five-legged creature under different conditions again and again and again. Because under specific conditions, under a specific environment, a five-legged creature might be the most effective creature to survive and flourish in these particular circumstances. If you deprive nature of that right to keep trying, although it knows already statistically that this doesn't work, you're depriving the freedom of its very soul. I don't know if I'm making myself clear or I'm going too complicated.
No, no, no. I'm enjoying the ride.
Okay, okay. Yeah, that's my
That's-
answer. That's my answer.
Now, there seems to be sometimes, however, a hiccup. If you look into some of the research that Ian Stevenson from the University of Virginia, if I'm not mistaken, is doing on like past life experiences where he goes and tests the claims of children that claim to witness or having experienced past lives. So what is your take on that? Like there seems to be
For past life experiences,
yeah,
past life experiences, look, it is very clear to me that we have genetic memory, all of us. Otherwise, the deer would not know how to walk after they come out of the belly. We would not know how to breathe and take the mucus out. We would not know like anything. We have genetic experience. Humans, they take like a lot of months or even years to gain all their qualities, but other animals, they come out and they're ready, you know. Insects, they come out, they fly, they fuck, they do anything they like. So we do have genetic memories. And if we didn't, evolution would not continue being imprinted on us. A new characteristic will come and then it would be lost. Yes. The characteristics are not just physical, there's also behavioral characteristics that breed for success in some particular thing. The majority of our DNA is what they call junk DNA. It doesn't seem to affect how we're going to come out bodily. But it's there for a reason. Nature does not do, redundant, useless things like that.
software.
Less is more is how engineering and nature works. So this DNA, most scientists speculate that it's holding all kinds of like genetic memory information.
Yeah.
According to what scientists say, the biomass on the planet is finite. It is about like 5 billion tons of biomass in total. It keeps recycling. Yeah. You eat a chicken, you take a shit, the shit goes to the ground, it fertilizes, makes plants, the cow eats the plants, and so on and so forth. A worm eats whatever, the chicken eats the worm. Yeah, the bird, it flies over, it shits somewhere else. The genetic material keeps recycling, and we change all ourselves constantly. So, as scientists say, all of us have several times in our bodies, momentarily, for some time, cells that once belonged to Jesus Christ, the Prophet Muhammad, I don't know, Alexander the Great, but also every creature that's ever lived, like cockroaches, pigs, eagles, plants, anything. Because the same biomass that keeps being recycled. So with psychotropics, sometimes you can have past life experiences, but also with many other processes or in dreams. And basically, everything is a past life. Every single experience that the whole of the universe has ever experienced from the Big Bang onwards is a shared experience. But how do you pick? If I give you like a phone book, which is nothing compared to the complexity of the universe, and tell you pick a name, how do you find a name? Let's say I give you a phone book that's not alphabetical, they're all mixed, and you try to find a name. How are you going to find that name? You got to read like the whole phone book twice, right? So, how do you pick? So, people have a tendency to pick grandiose past futures. They like to have a past that is like, Napoleon the Great or Cleopatra, or a really dramatic person, a wizard or a thing like that, because they gravitate to the fancy stuff, right? Yeah. And when you're looking at the supermarket, the most flashy packaging and the most appetizing, that's what you pick. Yeah. So people pick this memory of a past life. Yes. It's just one in infinite ones. Just because it's flashy. They're usually flashy. Yes. People never have a past life where they're a boring accountant that nothing ever happens in their lives. There's got to be drama there. They got to pick the drama. Yes.
The one that sticks out.
Yes. So this is my answer in this respect.
So, where do you think all those past shared experiences are stored?
In your DNA, in your junk DNA. I already answered that.
Okay.
Okay, if you want to go more existential, yeah.
I would love to. Like, I'm just trying to figure out like what's the right
If you want to
level of
go,
depth
if you
for the
want to
interview.
go more existential, there
Mhm.
is such a thing as the universal pool of knowledge.
Mhm.
So when you die, you have access to this universal pool of knowledge. But this is not the only way to have access to this universal pool of knowledge.
Yeah.
If you systematically demolish those beliefs that make you doubt that it's there, then eventually you get to it and you have access to it. Yes. Then suddenly you find that you can answer any question instantly without hesitation and in a very easy way because it's very intuitive. You look and you see. This universal pool of knowledge exists on two levels, let's call it. One, it exists on everything that's lived.
Mhm.
And second, it exists, let's say, in the pool of the unmanifested, in the spirit, of
Yeah.
that which has no body. Yes. And as such, it's very easily accessible. But try to understand how this works. Your brain does not have the capacity to fill with everything. It's like in your computer, you have like so many gigabyte of hard disk, 1 terabyte. Once it fills, there's no more space. You have so much RAM to process it. So basically, you get to a stage where you know everything as long as you're willing to look. So if you're willing to look at one thing, you know it automatically, basically, as if you've always known it. And then if you want to look into another place, then you automatically know it. I find myself in this situation many, many years ago when I first broke through and found myself in this universal pool of knowledge. And I was with a teacher of mine, Don Manuel, back then, in an island in Greece, actually, on the beach. And I found myself in that place. And I was kind of like Fact, because I had this access and I didn't know what to ask. What can I ask? If you have no question, how can you ask? So I asked him, please start asking me questions. Because I'm in this weird place where I have all the answers, but I have no questions. So I don't have any answer. Are you getting this? I don't know if I'm expressing it in a way to comprehend. Yes. It's like they put you in front of a computer and says, this computer knows everything.
Yeah.
Ask the computer a question. And you have no question. Because at the same time, you're the computer. You're not a part. So this universal pool of knowledge is accessible to everybody. But it takes removing the distorting filters and the distorting beliefs. Let's say this is outlandish, it cannot work, right? Because you do get, like everybody else, you do get insights. You do get answers from that universal pool of knowledge occasionally, but you don't trust them usually. You say, just like a thought. It doesn't mean anything. You don't trust that it's true. And since you don't trust that it's true, because of all your beliefs, then it's not possible that just out of the blue I know this. Yeah? That's why then it's not real for you. So it's not in your reality. I'm not talking about you specifically, I'm talking in general.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
So I don't know, is this answer good enough for you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Are you having fun?
I mean, absolutely. Here's the thing,
Okay.
like I have like on my list like assembly theory, integrated information theory, and then I was like, you know what, like I don't want to go too technical because it's also supposed to be entertaining for other people, and I'm super happy with
Okay, as
the
long
answers.
as long as you explain the technical clearly,
Yeah,
I trust that people can understand it, but you gotta explain it clearly, not just throw names. Yes?
yeah. No, I agree, and
So if this was a
um
private conversation, you could just throw names at me, and if I
yeah,
happen to know it, then we can move on and not need to explain anything.
yeah,
But since we want this to be digestible by everybody, I trust
yeah,
that everybody is capable. There's nothing. If something is too complicated for a 5-year-old to understand, it cannot be true.
yeah.
Life
Okay,
is simple.
so
Life is simple.
no, a- absolutely. I think my concern is more because I'm very geeky sometimes in that regards. Because when I asked you the question about like where do you think that information is stored, what I was kind of hoping for is going somewhere in the direction of the zero gravity field or 0 point field, how it is called, like the energetic field from which all matter arises. Um,
Okay.
but on the other hand, it's
I'll answer you about this. I'll answer you
okay.
about this. There's a physical aspect to everything, but it's not relevant.
Exactly.
It's not relevant. There's a physical aspect. There's a real, to everything, there's a real aspect.
Yeah.
Even to a poem that you have in your mind and haven't told anybody, there is a real physical aspect of that memory imprinted on your brain and on your gray matter. Yes. So there's
Yeah.
a physical aspect to everything that happens. Electricity is invisible, but it has a physical aspect to it. Yes. It has the wires that carry it, or whatever else it is, or whatever medium. Yes. Everything has a physical aspect.
Yeah.
Energy and matter are the same. Energy is basically, matter going too fast, and matter is energy going too slow. So this is how the world works. It's not separate matter, like the physical thing and energy. It's the same thing. In the
Yeah.
same way as an ice cube is solid, and then you accelerate its molecules uh, with heat, and it becomes water, so it becomes a liquid. Then you accelerate it with more heat, and it becomes a gas, and it goes away. And if you accelerate it more, it becomes light. So they're all one thing. And water is water, whether it's solid ice, or whether it's steam, it is still water. Yes.
All the
So
same. Yeah,
so it's there is a physical aspect to everything, but it's not relevant.
exactly. That's why I didn't ask the
Yeah.
follow-up questions in that regard. So I'm super happy of how this goes, by the way. Are you having fun?
I'm having amazing fun. I'm enjoying it.
Okay, so
So you can go on.
excellent. Okay. Let's switch from those philosophical aspects. I would love to hear from you, like what are some of the accomplishments of your Argonauts that you are particularly proud of? And I'm not looking here for success stories. I'm just looking for to kind of hear some of the things that actually surprised even you about how powerful the pillars and choices can be and how it impacts the life of others.
You surprised me because you were like very, very argumentative. But when you decided, okay, there's something here, you jumped full in and you started making implementations and trying things out immediately and with great passion. So you surprised me. That's why I did an exception to
Yeah.
take you into an advance just a few months after your workshop, which is a no-no. So you're one
Okay.
example, and there's so
Mhm.
many, really. It doesn't have to be grandiose things. It is
Yeah.
when people manage to like make the choice to overcome their patterns and to actually go for something, doesn't matter whatever that is, it always moves me. It always moves me. There are things that I had nothing to do with. That like Argonauts have done their workshop, then they've gone back home, and after they've gone back home and I have no contact, they can write to me and say, look, I I remember this idea that I had 15 years ago, and I'm already implementing it. And then you say, wow, yes, wow. Yeah. Not talk about it, not think about it, but just go for it. And always these kind of things, they move me very deeply because they kind of like stroke and confirm my belief in human capabilities and the limitlessness of human capabilities.
Very true, isn't it? You
Yeah,
just need to make the choice and put all your efforts in.
yeah.
I think that
But
also
yeah,
answers one of Hmm?
and to tell you the truth, I impress myself no end. I'm impressed by my wife no end. I'm
Yeah.
impressed by the Tiramiticans no end. I'm impressed by anybody that chooses to actually put their balls, their intention on the table and actually really do something for it. And sometimes it's difficult, but is it supposed to be easy? I don't know. Some things are not supposed to be too easy. If it was very easy to climb Mount Everest, everybody would be doing it.
Yeah. But as you said before, it's about the framing, you know? If you- I mean, at the end of the day, it's objectively challenging, but how you perceive that challenge and what you make about it is what it comes down to.
But what is life without challenge? It's boring. It's
It
boring.
is.
I give you a video game that's too easy to beat. You play it once, then you say, fuck that. It's done.
Yeah.
I give you something that's really hard. You play for ages and you enjoy it. So why should it be easy? Even
Yeah.
about relationship. Why should relationship be easy? Yes, it's two different people and you gotta like keep trending towards more and more alignment and alliance. And this is like, wow, it's the fucking Olympics. It's like divinity because you take yourself that you're an individual and by just joining, you're your aspirations, your beliefs, your lives, your everything with one other person, you're already tending towards the divine. Yeah. You are
Unity.
1+1, then you can be 1+2 and 1+3 and so on and so forth. So it's the most divine act. Why should it be easy? Birth is not easy, there's pains to birth. But look what a miracle. Yeah. Couldn't nature have done birth to be painless? Of course it could. It does so many things, there's so many creatures in the world. The belly could open up, take the baby out, and close. I mean, nature can do this kind of shit. But there's a reason to it. Yes. It's also that the pain and the thing gives value to the experience. So then mothers are more like prone to take care of their babies because they've kind of paid for it. Yes. It wasn't easy, so it's valuable. They here, we play in this room, we play Dungeons and Dragons, actually Pathfinder, every Saturday with the guys. And Andy and Dorian and some other people are super passionate about the game. And sometimes we have an altercation because I say, I play to win. I say, no, I play to enjoy the game. I say, okay, I enjoy the game because I play to win. It's not that I enjoy it less when I lose, but I enjoy it because I'm playing to win. And many times for people it's difficult to get this because you've also been brainwashed. It doesn't matter if you win, it matters to play the game well. No, it matters to win because if you don't want to win, you're not going to play the game well. You're not going to risk, you're not going to give it your all. You're not going to do that. You got to play to win with everything.
Yeah.
Now, if you're miserable if you win, then you miss the point. The point is not to win. The point is to strive to win. And that's about everything in life. Like, I live life to win in any interaction. Yes, in my relationship with you personally, I want to win. What does it mean for me to win? It means, first of all, you're happy and you like to interact with me, so I'm popular. Yes. Second, to give you big value in your life. For example, there's Argonauts that have started businesses that I have kind of like encouraged and pushed and helped them to establish that actually are very successful and they're making money. This way they have money and they can pay me for workshops. So I like to win. Again, I like also for me to not be trouble to you because the less I'm trouble to you, the more you like me and the more I win. So, for example, if I do you 100 things that you like and I'm nice to you, but never ask you anything unless I have to. And when I ask you of something, I don't abuse you. And if you tell me no, I'm fine and I don't have a sour face, and I say, okay, so good, I'll find somebody else. Yes. Then A, it's very easy for me to ask you. B, it's easy for you to say no. But at the same time, whether you like it or not, if I rarely ask you for a favor and the favor is respectful, the probability of you giving me this favor are kind of like 99%. Yes. And if you don't, I have 100 others that the probability for them to help me are 99%. Yes. So it's like a video game again. People may say, how cynical, how cynical you are. Of course I'm cynical. Yeah. Like people say, love is unconditional. Love cannot be unconditional. If somebody harms you all the time, why would you love them? Like, fuck them. Love is always conditional. We pretend that the ideal is unconditional love. Yeah. If I'm not going to be angry at you or hate you, but if you're like hurting my family or anything like that, fuck you. I'm not going to love you. I'm going to bang you in the head. Love is not unconditional. So if the interaction with me makes people happy, if there is no condition to the relation with me, you don't have to do me favors for me, to be your friend. If you know and you felt that I will always respect you, I never take you for granted. If you do me a favor, I'm going to say thank you. I'm going to show you that I appreciate. I'm not going to do it too often unless I absolutely have to in a particular moment. And I'm going to do all that, yes. Then obviously I have you as a willing ally.
Yeah.
And we may live a lifetime and I will never ask anything of you. But if I do, because of this construction of reality of our relationship between the two of us, yeah, my chances of having you on my side are exponentially larger. Yeah. So that's why I don't take donations from people. I don't, ask money from people outside my workshop. I don't like I speak to them and help them and write to them. I never take any money and anything like that. But if I ever need something in any country, there's many, many people that will run to help me and without any obligation at all, which makes it more fun for them. If they're not doing it because of obligation, but they're doing it because they just feel like it. Okay, I have an opportunity to do something for Mikis. That's nice. I like that. Yes, not an obligation, an opportunity.
No.
So if you construct your realities and your relationships to win, to win, to win in everything you do, in relationship, in your own evolution, in the happiness of the people around you, in creating exactly the life and the environment you like. Yeah. For example, especially when I was better physically, I would never ask anybody to do anything, even when they were my employees and they had to do it, that I hadn't tried and done myself before. If I'm not willing or not capable to do it, I cannot ask anybody to do it. Because this way I feel exactly how much work it is, how difficult it is, what's the issues with it, what's going to happen with this, and I can do it in a way that goes smoothly and it's a win. So, I'm not going to ask you ever to do something I'm not willing or have not done in the past.
But I think that gets us back to one of the pillars, You can only find it if you really trust and know that it's there. In order to win, you really need to know what are you even playing for and what do you want to win.
I want to win everything. I want to win everything.
For sure.
Why would I choose what to win? I win in everything. Why would I choose from a list? Everything. Everything that's possible on the menu, everything that life can give me, I want to win it.
Yeah.
Simply.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the big challenges that we have now in modern society, because we're like this idea of, oh, I don't want to be competitive. I don't strive to actually win, so you give up or you don't really give your best. Take for instance, like this situation I had with my business. For a couple of years, it was just me. I created my own category. And I got saturated, like I got said, oh man, cool, I made the money, and I wasn't really in anymore for the winning. And even more competitors came in, and I was like, just okay, it will happen, or let it happen. And now since I've come back, like I'm like, fuck those. I'm going to dominate the market again, But why? Because I like to win. And also like along the way, since I'm doing the coaching business, I can also help others. And that makes me also happy.
But you can also win in other ways as well. You don't only win through being the best or doing the best job. Sometimes you win by creating clever alliances, not be too greedy. Yes. So you could have taken one of these competitors as they were rising before they reached you, brought them in, made them a partner, and then you could be in the Bahamas and they would be working for you and you would be making money and only work when you want, which would be a bigger win than cornering the market. So there's many ways to win.
Yeah.
Yes,
No, absolutely.
There's many ways to win, and sometimes you win by winning together with others.
Yes, that is correct.
Not
And I have it.
not necessarily by being the only one who wins.
Yeah. No, and I agree because I have like two amazing coaches in my company that I'm working with, and I've really enjoyed working with them. The other two didn't really resonate with me. But yeah, I mean, bloody hell, like, you know how miserable I was about my coaching business and I was so tired about it? I've been, like, the last 3 weeks, I've been just pulling like 12, 16-hour days because I was so fucking excited about what I was creating.
This is the end of our magical and commonsensical dungeon chat. And
Thank you very much.
see everybody on the next episode.
Want to play RPG in our dungeon? Would you like us to make you a small, medium, or huge custom-made sculpture? Or even your own castle? Contact us at contact@fantasyscaping.com.